Hello, hello. If you're out there, give me a high five and let me know in the chat where you're from. And if you have any questions, I'm going to wait a little bit, but we're going to see how things go here. This is my first time doing a live stream, and I don't know if anybody's going to show up. I don't know if I posted it properly, but you gotta you gotta give things a try, right? That's how you learn. That's how you learn about gardening. It's how you learn a new language. It's how you travel. And I'm one of these people that I just soon just jump in the water and see what happens. So if you're there, please just let me know and we'll give it a shot. I've got about, I think, another minute before the advertised time of this, and I just don't know if it's working. So let me know if you're there, please. I would really appreciate it. I some of these gizmos. Oh, engage with my audience. Sure, I can do that. Start a question and answer. Okay. What where did you travel to most recently? Okay. Let's see. Start the Q&A. Okay. Did you get that? I don't know. Where did you travel to most recently? Okay. Hey there. Are you there? If you're there, give me a thumbs up, please. If you're there, give me a high five, please. I'm here. I think, let's see, it's 7 o'clock. That's what I'm supposed to start this live stream. I don't know if anybody was here or not, um, but maybe just for the heck of it, I'm going to start talking. I'm going to start practicing. Oh boy, where do I begin? As some of you may know, I traveled to Ecuador by myself most recently. And um, yeah, I traveled to myself. My husband and I usually travel together quite a bit internationally, but just recently I decided to travel to Ecuador by myself to visit some friends who I've known for 35 years. It's an interesting story, actually. She was a foreign exchange student in my family, came to visit us in Montevideo, Minnesota, and she spent the year with us. And then a couple years later, her brother came, spent his senior year of high school with us. And then her sister came and spent time with us as well. So we've gotten to know this family over the years very, very well. And actually, I've been to Ecuador 3 times, but it's always been with my husband. This time, I decided to do it alone because my husband couldn't come with me. Because of some prior commitments. So what I learned, what I was a little nervous about going by myself. And I didn't know if this experience, even though I was visiting a family and I wasn't staying in a hotel, I really wasn't sure how this experience was going to be different from when my husband and I traveled together. Um, so I did learn some things about traveling solo, and I'd like to share them with you. First of all, I think the preparation was a little different. Um, I just had one suitcase. I decided to check my bag, and that came as a shock a little bit. I wasn't prepared that American Airlines was going to charge me $45 for my bag. Generally, when you travel internationally, even if you're in economy, many times most airlines you're allowed one bag at no charge. It was my bad. I didn't check because Actually, I don't fly American Airlines. Generally, my airline of choice here is either Delta or United, and then their partners overseas. So, anyway, started off that way. The other thing that kind of was a glitch from the very beginning was that my TSA clearance was not active for whatever reason. So I text my husband to say, you better check this out. And again, it was an American Airlines screw up that they didn't put it on my ticket, even though it was my number was in the system. So right away, even before I left my home airport, I had a luggage issue and I had TSA clearance issue. But after that, things went pretty well. Flew to Guayaquil and actually stayed in a hotel overnight because we got in a little late, and my friends were coming to pick me up the next day. So I went to the hotel, and it was American branded hotel. Oh boy, there's that word again, American branded hotel. And I went for dinner, and I thought I'm going to have a good shrimp dinner. And so I did order a shrimp saute over rice, and it was hot. It was cooked. But what ended up happening is I got food poisoning, and I'm pretty sure that it was from the shrimp. So you know what happens then. I spent the whole night not sleeping, but in the bathroom. And the next morning, I was better, but pretty worn out. And then I had a 3-hour trip up the mountain. Made it okay, no problems. So that's how I started my trip to Ecuador. The next day, I had a wonderful time with my guests, um, or not my guests, but the family that I know and my friends, and and it was just great. But what ended up happening on the following day was for some reason, I thought it would be fun to go to a shaman. Do you know what I mean when I say a shaman? A healer of sorts. And in Ecuador, especially in the city of Cuenca, where I was visiting, they're very common. These women gather in the market and they have all their herbs. And actually, the women are kind of dressed very similarly. And anyway, they started their healing on me, and I sat down, and they took all these herbs, and they just had me breathe in the herbs, and then they started going around my body with the bouquet of herbs. Shh, 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 shh. This maybe went on for 15 minutes till they covered my body, it seemed. Shh, 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 shh. I just sat there, and then they made me breathe in the herbs again. Okay. So I'd say this whole session lasted about a half an hour. And then when they finished with the herbs, then they took a raw egg in the shell, okay? But it's a raw egg. And they started rubbing it in the shell, mind you, all over my body. Okay, all over my body. They rubbed the egg. I was just really hoping it wasn't going to crack, and it didn't. It didn't. And so then the next thing they did is after they rubbed my body with the egg all over, they took the egg and cracked it open in some water. And then I suppose it's like going to someone who reads tea leaves or something. They watched the yolk and the whiteness around the yolk. And all of a sudden, these women, or my healer, got just kind of panicky in a way. And she said in Spanish that she'd never seen so much bad energy. Well, of course, I was shocked. What does she mean? What does she mean? And I thought, am I exuding bad energy? What am I doing wrong here? I'm a good person. Come on, I'm not just. sending out evil vibes to people. But no, what she was trying to tell me is that people were sending evil vibes towards me. And that because I'm kind of an emotional person. I tend to, as some people would say, wear my heart on my sleeve. And they said, no, what's happening is that you are absorbing all this bad energy into your body. And we're going to show you how to stop that from happening. So they gave me a red bracelet. I don't know what I did with it. I thought maybe I had it here, but I don't. And they put it on my arm and they told me to wear this red bracelet. And to protect myself, I should go like this with my red bracelet out, and that should ward off okay, bad energy. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that when she finished, let me continue with my story. I felt like I'd been drugged. I got up and I just was in a daze looking out at my friends. And they said, you'll feel better later because this energy is being expelled from your body. Well, the next thing I know, I'm walking the streets of Cuenca and I go, my God, I need a plastic bag. So because I just started expelling this energy, whatever was in my stomach, and I just was throwing up. And my friends kept saying, this is good. This is good. You're getting rid of all your bad energy. So I don't know. I just spent that day too, throwing up, being just actually physically drained. And then they told me that what I needed to do was I needed to get another treatment before I left Ecuador. And I said, there's no way that's going to happen. No way. So I don't know. Have any of you? I see I've got a couple people online, and I'd love to know where you're calling from. Um, have any of you ever gone through any kind of healing experience like this? My background is I'm a Christian, and I kind of grew up where this was not an acceptable thing at all. But sometimes when you travel internationally, it's good to just be aware of some of the customs of the people, and you may not agree with them, but it's how they live. And I think it is important to maybe not partake, but at least understand what's going on here a little bit. Would I go back and do this again? I don't think so. And I think what I've done is I really realize now, oh, thank you for the thumbs up. Yay! I reached somebody. I wish you'd ask me a question. I'm not very good at a monologue. Um, I I wouldn't do it again for me, but when I travel, I do like to go, especially have different kinds of massages. Oh, that is the other thing I did while I was in Cuenca. Cuenca is I think it's 8,000 feet above sea level. So the elevation is pretty high. And there are hot springs. So I went to a spa, and that too was quite an experience. It was a very posh spa, very nice. And so when you go there, they first of all put you into a mud bath. Have any of you ever had a mud bath? Boy, after sitting in there, my skin just felt so good, so good. And then once you get out of the hot bath, I think you have to sit in that mud bath for 20 minutes, I think it was. Then you get out and then you go take a shower, get all the mud off of you. And then what they do is they rub salt all over you. It just rubs salt all over. And after you've kind of covered your body in salt, do not get it on your face. You go and you take a shower again, and then you're brought to a marble slab. And that's where you get the Ecuadorian equivalent of a Turkish bath. Have any of you ever been in Turkey and then had a traditional Turkish bath? Very, very nice. So they scrub you down, just amazingly how clean you get. And then after that, you dry off and then you go have a massage. I mean, how wonderful is that? When you're traveling, I think self-care is very, very important. I really, really do. Um, I would do again. That I would do again. And generally, when my husband and I travel, and he's really a sport about that, he'll go with me to some of these different places where you can get massage. So, coming back to what I learned about traveling internationally is, first of all, um, how can I say this? I think if my preparation was a bit different. I needed to just take care of everything myself. And with Ecuador, I didn't. I thank God I looked at the embassy website before I left, and I would highly suggest that because these days some of the entrance um, requirements are different. You may have a visa, you may not need a visa, but you may need to fill out a form. And this is becoming increasingly more. You're seeing this all over the world. And so, like 24 hours before I left for Ecuador, I had to go online, fill out this form. And I don't know if it's a way of tracking you or what it is, but you need to do that. Um, so as I prepared for my trip, many times my husband and I share the responsibilities, but in this case, it was all up to me. So I'd say your planning and preparation may be a little different. Um, let's see. Okay, luggage. Oh my God. As you know, anybody who's traveled internationally or domestically, you know that your luggage can be a real, real nightmare. And these days, it's so important that you make sure that your suitcase is the exact measurements from wheel to handle that is required by the airlines, or you may um, this is for carry on, or you may end up having to check your bag and you may be charged a huge fee. Um, what happened to me was, as I told you at the beginning, is I was flying American and I assumed, and that's, of course, we all know what that means, that my one suitcase that I checked would be free because most international flights that I've been on recently, the first suitcase is free that you check. Well, with American Airlines, it wasn't. It cost me $45. So that was a bit of a shock. Um, I paid it, and what else could I do? But I did pay it. Watch. Be careful about the luggage again, and then and you got to remember too that anything you bring into the plane, you're responsible for it. If you're going solo, it's you. Whereas many times with before when I travel with my husband, it's he and I together, and I can help him with the suitcase. He can help me. Fortunately, I checked my bag because I didn't want to have any hassle with that. Safety, that is a big concern for a woman traveling solo, and especially, well, in anywhere, I guess now. So, what I'm going to tell you is that in many countries, you just have to watch your bag, you have to watch your back, you have to watch what you're doing, and dress appropriate to the country. Now, when I was in Ecuador, the first thing my friends told me is they said, keep your bag as close to your body as you can and don't bring out your cell phone unless you're going to use it, because evidently that there's these grab and run cell phone, they just grab and run. So I was very, very careful about that. I also have an over the shoulder bag here. Let me show you what it is. That I like it because I can just flip it over my shoulder and I can adjust it to keep it very close. Or what I can do is I can tuck it in underneath a jacket or something. So these things are important. And especially for a woman, I just try to stay low key. The only time I was concerned was when I was in the city of Guayaquil the night before my flight back home, is I stayed in a very nice hotel, but I didn't realize when I booked the room that it was in a separate tower. So what it meant is that I had to go through this shopping mall and go to a different elevator. And I personally, I just didn't feel safe at all. And then the other thing was, is I had transit in the morning to the airport at 5 o'clock, and someone, I just was concerned about coming down the elevator at 5 o'clock, going through this shopping mall at 5 o'clock, and going into the doors of the hotel. But I did it. I did it, and everything did work out okay. But I think when you're traveling alone as a woman, at least for me, and maybe it's because I'm just I haven't done this enough. I just felt uncomfortable. I did. I just felt uncomfortable. I felt like I was exposed. Um, Whereas when I'm with my husband, at least I don't know. That's crazy. I just felt like something wasn't right, when I'm just alone. So we've talked about preparation, how important preparation is when you're traveling alone, and it is different than if you're traveling with a couple. Luggage and all that crap, and trying to simplify all of that. That's important when you travel as a couple, but it's very important when you're traveling alone because nobody else is keeping track of your stuff except you. The other thing, we talk a little bit about safety, and I'd love to hear, hey, I see I got some more people coming on. Great, thank you. And if you have any questions, I would really, really appreciate, because I'm not so good at carrying on a monologue. And this, as I was saying, is my first ever live stream. And let me know if I'm doing okay, okay? And let me know if there's ways that I can improve. I just wished I could actually see your faces, which I can't. So, to get through this, what I'm doing is I'm pretending that we're sitting at my kitchen table and you're across from me and that we're just chatting, but I'm doing all the chatting. Okay. So, next thing, I would suggest too that for transportation, you arrange it through your hotel. Certainly, there's Uber. If you're other parts of the world, there's Grab. I think, and I can't remember the other one, but I have used Uber in India. I've used Grab in Vietnam. And then I've used taxis with my husband in Japan. But I felt better if I arranged my transportation through the hotel. I just felt like maybe there was a little bit more accountability. And again, that goes to the safety factor for me. Okay. Um, let's see. I know that some people like solo traveling. I realize that's just not my thing. It's just not. Probably the thing that I disliked the most was I had no one to talk to. I had these wonderful, wonderful experiences with these people. And excuse me, and I kept texting my husband or calling him. I don't know how many times a day I do that because I just wanted to share this with him. And he wasn't there. And so there was a real sense of loss, a sense of loneliness for me. And again, I know I'm I'm just not cut out for traveling solo. Um, would I do it again? I don't know. I don't know. Excuse me. If he wouldn't go to a place that I wanted to go. Actually, we had a conversation about this when I returned. I told him, I said, when I want to go somewhere, I want you to say yes and you go. He would never say no to me, you can't go. But what I want him to say is, yes, I'll come with you. And because I just don't want to do this alone. One other thing I want to pass on to you that really saved me as well, both when we're traveling as a couple, but definitely when I traveled solo, was lounges, airport lounges. Big thumbs up on that. Um, because these are places that you can go, you can feel, you can eat, you can relax, you can use the internet. And they're, oh my gosh, in Guayaquil, their lounge, they even had a room with these chairs that were reclining chairs. Excuse me, reclining chairs, and you could take a nap. And honestly, there were people in there who were snoring. So it was very, very comfortable. So if you can and you're traveling, the investment in lounges is really worth it. We have a Capital One Venture card, and that access to Priority Pass lounges, that's part of the deal. Gosh. Oh, the reason I'm coughing so much, that was the other thing. Is on the way home on the plane, I ended up with a sinus infection. So I'm just coming off a round of antibiotics. So, as you can tell, probably the greatest hurdle that I had to cross on this trip to this wonderful country to visit these wonderful peoples was my own health. So, I not only got food poisoning, but going to a shaman, I got sick because she purged all this bad energy out of me, and then I got a sinus infection. I don't know how. Well, I guess I do know how. Anytime I get on a plane, I'm susceptible to getting sick, and I did mask. So if you have any suggestions on how I can protect myself a little bit better, I would really, really appreciate it. Chan and I, my husband and I, are actually flying to India in a month. So I have to get myself well. I have to get myself healthy. I am taking probiotics right now because of, after taking the antibiotics, it's, you got to rebuild up all the bad, or not the bad, but the gut bacteria, the good gut bacteria. So I got to do that. I'm just trying to think. Boy, I wish you guys would ask me some questions because I know I've got some viewers, and like I said, this is the first time I've ever done that. I think I would like to do it again. I hope I gave you some tips today on traveling solo, and part of what my experience was doing that. Um, it, I just missed my husband. I'll be blunt. I just missed sharing this experience with my husband. And maybe I am a little proud of myself that I did it all by myself, that I did overcome some challenges, especially as it relates to my health. There were some other things too with the language, but that's all minor. The health issue, of course, is really a big one. I really want to thank you for joining me. I'm going to cut this short now. Again, I just want to thank you so much. I hope this went okay. I would really appreciate to hear some kind of feedback about my performance here today. And I hope you have a great night. Oh, buenas noches. Bye.